Hello. Very grateful to be here and to have your attention for these next few minutes. I think we've got a video to kick things off. If we could just play that would be great.
Canopy Blue are building the world's first hyperscale seaweed farming restoration sites, growing seaweed and industrial scales using industry leaders to create biofuels, bioplastics and environmental credits. Canopy Blue is a science-informed, industry-led initiative that has assembled a consortium of project partners and leading experts in government, industry and academia. In 2022, Canopy Blue launched its first kelp restoration site in Western Australia, generating 80,000 kelp reforestation credits, which have been purchased by corporate partners such as Austral Fisheries and GHD Engineering to offset their organisational carbon emissions.
I am David Cowlith, CEO of Austral Fisheries. We operate 19 berths in 3 fisheries from the northern tropics to the southern Antarctic. Really, as a business that relies on the ocean being in good shape to ensure that we're in good shape, it's only right and proper that we give back. It's a lack of credibility when business asks for action to be taken on climate when they're not prepared to do something themselves. And so I think through our actions we evidence our deep commitment to doing the right thing, shifting the dial around these important issues, and hopefully inspiring others to do something similar.
Canopy Blue's first seaweed farming raise, designed by GHD, will be deployed in May this year at its 800-hectare site in Esperance. Canopy Blue will grow its first seaweed harvest using a highly scalable system that can lead to vast kilometres of offshore seaweed forests, with fully automated seeding and harvesting. And with this, Canopy Blue are in discussions with major oil and gas operators both in Australia and overseas regarding repurposing of their infrastructure for seaweed cultivation and biofuel generation. Over the coming decade, Canopy Blue will build and operate their own seaweed farms and restoration sites and license their technology globally to create an incredible network of hyperscale ocean restoration, sequestering and mitigating the release of gigatons of CO2. By investing in Canopy Blue, your backing company is driven by industry and informed by science to operate at never before seen scale.
Okay, so we're actually got a seed round at the moment for $3 million. Our corporate advisors are here actually, and they're Trident Capital. And I will say up front that it's almost impossible to talk about seaweed without hitting many puns. So the fact they're Trident was a complete coincidence, but also completely fitting. And over the last year, there's been a lot of synchronicity around what we're doing. So we feel that we like to say the seaweed gods are with us on this one. And it's a real mission, bringing everyone together to do this for the planet. And as everyone here knows, this is essential. We are going to run out of time, so we are pushing this. We've got a consortium of partners, project partners, that have got proven track records of bringing this big ideas to life, executing on big infrastructure projects. We're a spin-out from Grey Innovation Group. Jefferson is here, he's our chair. Just you look at some of the things they've done, unbelievable. From bionic eye through to $40 million from the government to create ventilators for the COVID pandemic. So, you know, they can deliver in a way that if I was coming at you with a startup, I just wouldn't be able to. And we're definitely not a startup, we're a spin-out. We're backed by all of their services and structure. GHD Engineering, this is not new to them. This kind of scale that we're going for, they really know what to do. They work in the ocean all the time. They build skyscrapers, bridges. Okay, so you start to get an idea of who you need to bring together to execute a project like this. And obviously the university has been critical in tapping into the best seaweed scientists in the world. Some of these guys, the Wernberg Lab, absolutely phenomenal. And we've also brought in captains of industry such as Chris Gunner, who Chris is also here today, and he's the former country chairman and president of Shell Japan and South Korea as well. And his input around the oil and gas industry has been priceless. So the potential to repurpose oil and gas infrastructure to grow seaweed at scale is a phenomenal opportunity. It's sitting right there. There's a huge decommissioning bill, $150 billion off of the northwest shelf of Western Australia, and we are talking to major oil and gas operators right now about doing that. And we'll touch on eco-detection at the end, but they're very relevant. As I say, team, got Jefferson as chair, history and track record and execution. Chris I just mentioned, Elizabeth's West Australian royalty, couple of premiers in the family there, and myself, I've got a background in carbon markets, so I actually started out in ACCUs, creating ACCUs from lighting upgrade projects. I was an FX trader previously and in financial services, and I wanted it to make it my mission over the rest of my life really, this was 5 years ago, to do something about climate change. And I saw the oceans as the biggest possible lever. I was involved in a biodiverse reforestation project on land, and I literally couldn't see the wood for the trees when I was thinking about, how can we scale this? How can we pull the biggest lever for climate change? And then I zoomed out, and I really had this image of the Earth as a marble, and it was all blue. And I think that is critical in the way we're looking at this carbon removals, and also in decarbonising the planet. We've run out of land. We need arable land for farming. The ocean is going to be where the race to net zero is won or lost, in my humble opinion. And there's a few of our scientific team here, which really, they've been phenomenal, and some of the modelling they've got about the carbon going out into the ocean, and the restoration project we've got with them has been successful already, so we're already in revenue with that. And to round it off, Jim Sharp, former Director General of Parks and Wildlife. Great Innovation have got a history of working with academia, government and industry and bringing that all together, and he just has been no end of help and delivering us meetings with government and getting them on board, and we're working hand in hand with them. So our mission and purpose is hyperscale offshore seaweed farming and restoration sites. So we're looking to unlock ocean-based agriculture in bulk at a high scale. We're going to create biodiesel, bioplastic replacements. There's currently a CRC for about $300 million just to figure out the uses of seaweed. This is happening all around the world. There's a revolution. There's the United Nations have got a seaweed manifesto, and we see that there's a bottleneck, which is in the actual capacity to grow at scale, the scale we need to unlock these things. And that's where we've come in with how do we do this. We're agnostic to the type of seaweed. In fact, we'll grow whatever seaweed is most prominent in the locations that we have our sites. So we're not restricted in that way, and we'll have the technology to do it at scale. So we'll own and operate a few of our own sites, but this is such a big mission. We're going to license that technology globally then, and our partners all around the world will help us get to gigatons of carbon sequestration and mitigation. And you'll notice there is a carbon and nitrogen environmental credit aspect to this, but that sits side by side with our seaweed farming. This is just an infrastructure that GHD has designed. This is our first pilot arrays that are going out in Esperance, our 800 hectare site in May. There's a few, this is the pilot design, but there's a few aspects to this which are new to the market, because the market historically has been very small scale, very near shore, and very labour intensive. This is heading towards automation, automated seeding and harvesting, and these beds are going to be able to move up and down. So that's to be able to collect nutrients, and also to come up for light, but also to avoid storms and be typhoon able to withstand the incredible things that the ocean will throw at. But again, none of this is new. These concrete blocks here are 12-ton mass anchors, and we're just taking what's already there in the oil and gas industry and in these big ocean industries and reapplying it. So we're systems integrator of these solutions. These are our seeding facilities for our Kalbarri project. That's a kelp restoration project we have with the University of Western Australia. So you can think of Canopy Blue in kind of like two aspects really. We've got the science coming out of the restoration project, crossing over into the seaweed farming, and we've got potential to restore kelp forests all over the world. 1/3 of the world's coastlines have lost their kelp forests, and that's really I think there's approximately 5 times the rate of loss of the Amazon rainforest. It could be between 2 and 3 million hectares a year, and it's a travesty, and we don't see it happening. So, I feel like because it's under the ocean and it's just out of our sight, and because land-based deforestation gets so much press, it's just a silent desertification of the ocean. So what we're doing at Kalbarri is aiming to restore 100,000 hectares of lost kelp forest. It was lost in the 2011 El Nino event. There's all kinds of repercussions for a loss like that, and there was no plans to put it back. We've actually launched our first 80,000 kelp reforestation credits. So we've sold around 15,000 of those as it stands, and that's with key industry partners that are purchasing those to decarbonise their businesses. And we'll have around about 1 million more credits coming online over the next 2 years. And this is our Esperance site. As I said, at this site, it's all about the actual seaweed farming, using the infrastructure you've seen, and that infrastructure is modular, so we can scale it up. And as we develop the site, we'll eventually get to a point where we can move offshore. So we're actually heading towards hyperscale offshore seaweed cultivation. And what that means is you'll have, visible from space, kilometres of seaweed growing off the coastlines of Australia and other locations around the world. And now back to eco-detection I mentioned at the start. And I think it's really important when we're talking about these huge ideas that are completely tangible and achievable, and we're moving from extractive industries to regenerative industries. This is a global shift. This is a new way of operating. This is the future of humanity if we are to survive. And a critical part of that is monitoring and accounting for this. When we account for this, we can put it onto balance sheets. We can actually use the capital markets to drive what we're doing. And Eco-Detection is a sister company of Canopy Blue. They've got real-time water monitoring, so we can see the carbonate flows in the water. We can see the nitrogen uptake. So as the seaweed grows, it's taking all these things out. The carbon is being taken out over the continental shelf, sequestered potentially for millennia. And we can show all of this happening in real time and verify the creation of these credits, and also of all of the biodiversity outcomes and the co-benefits, which aren't necessarily priced in right now, but which are going to be. So I've just seen a sign that I've got 1 minute left, and that's the end. So thanks for listening.